3000.
What is doing? My name's Maloney. This is the 3000 podcast. I'm joined today by an artist and a fellow Peninsula resident, Morano. Thanks for coming, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
It's your pleasure. It's my pleasure. And do people call you Monaro sometimes, like the car?
Oh, that's okay, I guess. Well, nobody says my name properly here, so that I'm cool with it.
Can you school us? How should we say it?
So, well, my name is Marco.
Uh-huh.
So people pronounce it like Marco, but it's Marco.
Got to roll the R, Marco.
Marco. So,
Marco.
Yeah, that's very. But it's that I'm fine with it. If you want to call me Mark, I'm fine too.
Okay.
And my second surname is Morano.
So you got the MM.
Yeah, so I'm Marco González Morano. It's like Marco Antonio González Morano. It's a bit long. Yeah, anyway.
Okay, so I guess now people can already tell from your accent.
Yeah.
You live in Melbourne now, but you're not from Melbourne. So tell us about where you grew up, man.
Well, I grew up in the outskirts of Barcelona, in a small city 30 kilometers from the Barcelona city.
Rich in culture?
Yes, it's not as cosmopolitan as Barcelona. It's way more, inland.
Rural?
Not rural. It has a little bit of rural, but it's more industrial.
Okay.
It's like, so the outskirts of Barcelona, there is a lot of, industrial areas and a lot of families coming from different places of Spain, going to Catalonia and then move to places where you used to be a lot of work. So I was born in Barcelona city. My parents, they were living in Barcelona, but we moved there because my dad was working on a big factory on this industrial.
Are the industrial areas still functioning now, or has it sort of changed?
It has changed, but it's still industrial. I mean, yeah. So those towns, they were very like rural back in the days, but then, start growing with all the industrial and a lot of, cheap buildings with a lot of, very humble families and things like that.
Yeah, working class.
Working class, yeah, correct.
Yeah. So a lot of industrial areas are like that all around the world, where it is more working class, but then the industry comes and it builds the community. Is that what happened sort of there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's actually where I grew up. So the town is called Canovelles. There is it's like the county is called Valles Oriental. So there is like different towns. So this one is like always changing because there, is always has the impact of a lot of migration. So now, for example, there is a lot of people coming from North Africa. So it's like constantly changing. So yeah. So I guess
was art on your radar there? Like, how did you get into art in the early years?
Oh, because graffiti. Yeah.
And graffiti was big there. It's industrial.
Yes. So I mean, going a little bit back. So I was, the classical kid in the class, not listening much, always drawing on the table, like non-stop drawing. It was my thing.
Yep.
I mean, it came kind of naturally. So when I start doing it's very similar stories like people from Melbourne, skateboard, things like that. So I started having a lot of interest on graffiti.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I have a lot of family in the city in Barcelona, so I used to, drive with my parents. Used to drive, and we always looking on all the, graffiti, along the road and things like that, and the trains, and so for me it was like, wow, this is my thing.
Yeah, a huge skateboard culture in Barcelona as well.
Massive.
It's known worldwide for a skate mecca. Yeah,
yeah, massive. It's funny, but when I was like very young, I was like, skateboard is my life, because I found that like the culture was kind of, I want to do this forever.
How did you get introduced to skateboarding? Going to Barcelona?
Yeah, so I had a cousin in the city. So
bit older?
1 year older. So we used to Yeah, he used to, take me all the plazas and parks and, cool places. And I was like, completely blown away by all the graphics, all the fashion. I mean, yeah, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
The music, yeah.
What year are we talking around about then when you got introduced to that stuff?
I was probably, I don't know, around 10 years old or something.
And what were the brands and the graphics, and were they all American, or was there
American.
European? No,
No, it was all American. Paul Peralta, Vision, Santa Cruz, all those.
So
brands.
we're talking late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because now the European skate scene is huge when it comes to the companies, but back then I guess everything came from America.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't remember local brands or anything like that. Yeah. It was all imported.
Yeah. And you just thought it was cool. The graphics, the style, the fashion, the mix with the graffiti, and you're like, this is my thing.
Yeah. So first was, skateboarding and all of that. And because of the music, and then I used to be the one always with the, marker, like doing all the drawings on the
grip
decks and things like that. Or if we go to a mini ramp or whatever, doing like little marks and tags and things like that.
What was your word?
I had so many. I don't even remember. Like I was one that I was fluide, and many.
Many.
Yeah.
But that was your entry into the graffiti culture, and then were you looking up to other people? Was there people really doing it, or you're just doing little tags?
No, so then because I was like very influenced by the things that I discovered in Barcelona through my cousin and the family that I had there. And then in my town and the town next to my town, that it's a bit larger. So it was like the older guys starting, putting pieces together, more sophisticated tags. The styles were very differentiated. Like, you can see the different crews with the different styles. So it was like, wow, this is wild. I want to do that. So through skate, I made a lot of kids of my age that, really quickly we start like, joining forces and, changing fanzines, like photocopy fanzines by then. Not like, because, it's pre-internet, it was very underground. Like, no.
But it was very cool though. That made it cooler.
No. I remember we used to go always with our sketches fold in our pockets, and we were like showing to each other, look my new style of letterings and things like that. I still have some. So it was like the first step, putting the tags and the sketches and all of that. So
and you're just getting influenced by what you're seeing on the walls. Did you have like subway art or anything like that? Any magazines from the US to sort of?
We had some, but it was like we didn't have access to, like, for example, maybe a friend had the book and share with us, and we were like, we shared like photocopies, black and white photocopies, because we didn't have. In that town, we didn't have a lot of those things. It was like, So we were like always walking to places to see the pieces in live. So we were like pretty isolated in that regard. So we were doing the same styles that, we were using, seeing in live.
Yeah, well, it was evolving. And the kind of cool thing about pre-internet and pre all of that is that the Barcelona style becomes its own thing.
Yeah, and the different areas. Again, the crews, the older kids, like the siblings of my friends, they were like, for us, they were like the coolest people, and they used to do the way they used the spray and the cutting, clean the it was like fascinating for us. So
Cutbacks and things like that.
yeah, and all the the arrows, the kind of characters and
Poses, yeah.
yeah. So it was very exciting for us.
Was when you saw that sort of stuff, did that make you just want to do it more, or did you emulate it, or you wanted to start your own? Did it make you want to copy them, or did it make you want to do your own kind of version of it?
So in the beginning, I was heavily influenced by those because I didn't have any other inputs, and then because I was very curious with style-wise, I was trying to evolve and develop my own thing naturally. I mean, it was nothing intentional. I was like, oh, I like that, I can't stop. So that's it.
With the crews there, is it similar to crews in Australia where they will have like 3 letters or 2-lettered names, or what were the kind of crews?
Yeah, correct. So we did our first groups, GNS, ECM, LSD 25. I mean, many
crews.
many. Yeah, so pretty similar.
Did everybody kind of get along, or was there graffiti beefs back then?
Oh yeah, of course.
Of course, people taking other spots and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I always felt very privileged because I was so obsessed. Real quick, I was kind of respected because the style and things like that. And I got very popular. Even I was super young. And
how old are we talking? 12, 13?
12, 13. So yeah.
You're still a kid, really.
I was doing my first piece, not my first piece, well, just the beginning when I was already pretty skilled with spray paint. But by my first piece, under a bridge, that it's an area that's kind of a hall of fame where people are still painting there, and I was doing my first piece in that town, and I was like literally shaking, and I was there with a friend. And it was the first time I met the older guys because I was painting there with a friend, and we saw them coming from the distance, and we were like, "Oh shit!" Because it was not our Hall of Fame or anything. So we took the risk to paint in that place.
So you had to let your skills shine, though. Otherwise, they were going to say...
Yeah, so it was like a really hot spot because it was like a lot of, it has a lot of, good vision. Like it was a really
viewing
nice...
points.
Yeah. And then they came in silence. They didn't say a word. They were like talking like... And they sit and they stay there for like, I don't know, for a while. And I was painting, not talking. I was like trying to behave, I guess.
You were nervous though, because they're
very
watching
nervous.
you. Yeah.
And they were like, looking at me kind of in arrogant way. And then one of the kids came, the older kids came to me and he passed me a joint. And I was like, trying to act like normal.
But you're 12.
Yeah, I was 13. And I was like, wow, okay, I guess I got accepted to those people. And from there, I was very lucky because then I kind of joined with them. And
how old are they? 16, 17 maybe?
They were like nearly 18.
Right.
They were like...
So they're a fair bit older.
Yeah.
It's a lot older when you're that age.
4 years. It was kind of 3, 4, 6 years older than us. Yeah.
And then so they let you in their crew? Or they just accepted you as you could paint there?
Correct. So we were like, kind of joining forces with them and having, the siblings crew with us. So, and, under their wing, I guess.
Well, you got accepted and you got sort of co-signed by them that you're okay.
Yeah, and it was nice because then they obviously spend way more time than us, and they start, sharing like fanzines, music, a lot of things that, film clips, like with a lot of things that we never had the chance to to watch or things like that.
Like VHS sort of.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were like,
We're showing how old we are now.
Exactly. So we were like, it was mind blowing for us.
Yeah.
And it gave me a purpose. Like, oh, I want to do this
Yes.
all
So
my life.
we're talking about like hip hop music. What kind of music clips are they showing you?
Yeah. So look, in '92, I went to my first concert. That it was Public Enemy.
Yeah. Wow.
I think it was the first time Public Enemy came to Barcelona. It was '92. My all those bands. Yeah, I was really big fan also. Beastie Boys. I always being a big fan of Beastie Boys. Then it was kind of a it's different coming up from the skate culture. I was pretty open with music in general, but yeah. So
could you understand the lyrics then?
absolutely nothing.
But you had a cool vibe and you liked it.
We just we wanna be like them.
Right. And you don't know what they're saying. Have no idea.
We don't care.
We don't care. It was just cool.
We don't care. This is for us.
Was Spanish hip hop around then?
Yeah. So all the siblings, they had like a band, and it was kind of a lot of bands starting rapping, a lot of friends, rapping, DJing and things like that. So I was like very shy. I was like not cool in any form of shape. So I was really focused with the painting and drawing, but I was like kind of a weirdo. Not weirdo, but a bit awkward. Like,
The quiet kid.
Quiet, yeah.
Who was good at drawing.
Yeah, correct. So.
It's different. Look, that side of the hip hop culture is very different to the braggadocious rapping side. If you're just drawing, then you're more quiet. You're you know what I mean?
Yeah. I always like the expression and, the energy and the way they put their own style and everything. For me, even if without understanding it, the thing that you can be yourself, it was kind of was super appealing to me. I mean, so I guess this is why I went straight to that.
Yeah, I guess loving all that American culture must have made you want to sort of learn a bit more English when you're hearing the music, when you're seeing all that sort of stuff. Did people say, "Oh, we got to find out, learn a bit more about this stuff"?
I mean, English is being a big struggle. So I've been studying English a little bit like all my life, but
Your English is good now.
Yeah, because it's nearly 10 years here. So, but when I came here, I was like horrible. It's still struggling, but I guess I didn't spoke properly until now. Yeah,
Really?
It's
a very hard language to get your head around.
And in Spain now, there's a lot of people that speak English, but when I grew up,
no,
there is no. We used to speak Spanish and Catalan. That it's the the language in Catalonia. So that's it. English was like a subject that we used to do at school, but very. No, I wasn't very.
A member of my extended family, Abuelita, she's from Spain, and she has been here 60 years. She still has a very strong accent.
Yeah, it doesn't go away.
No.
I was in my head. I was thinking, when I go there, I'm gonna be very refined. I'm gonna have a very beautiful Australian accent. No one is gonna notice. It's just like not gonna happen.
Yeah, but it's so funny because the Australian accent I think is pretty abrupt and it's not nice to listen to. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess you guys, because you can kind of differentiate. But when I came here, I wasn't able to really differentiate much the accent. It's now that I can see when I listen to English or American. So I travel a lot to England, North England, Manchester, and things like that. And I can understand.
Nah, it's true.
Yeah. So it happens with Spanish as well, depending on where you go. The
regions
accent.
Different. Yeah, for sure. The best way to learn that sort of stuff is just to jump in, though. Like, when you come here, that's the best way to learn. You can do all the textbook stuff you want. When you're here, you'll just have to pick it up.
Yeah, it's the immersion. I don't know if it's in English the proper word to say that, but when you are like living in the place, it's where and non-stop.
Immerse yourself in it.
Yeah,
Yep.
is the only way.
Yeah.
Unless you are a very good academic that you can study and you have like I'm not that type of person.
And there's all these apps now where you can just say it into the thing. Like my friend who was here not long ago, he was like, you just Google Translate. He was in Mexico. He didn't speak anything. He's just like, that's how they do it now.
Yeah, and watching a lot of YouTube videos, I guess. So for me, for example, watching movies with subtitles in English, with English subtitles was, because I was able to read it, but the pronunciation is so hard to understand because our language is phonetic. So what we read, is what we hear, but with English it's completely different.
Because it's borrowed from so many different languages and all thrown together.
Yeah. It's kind of, so yeah.
It's interesting.
Here we are.
So let's talk about when you were doing the graph at 12, 13 years old, early days. How are you, like, what kind of paint are you using? How are you getting your hands on the paint? Is there graffiti paint? Are you using mechanics paint? What are you using?
So in the beginning, when I started, the mechanic brands, we didn't touch them a lot because we had a couple of local brands that they just started to incorporate more colors and things like that. And quickly, those companies, they realized that they were selling a lot of spray paint. So we had access real quick to, good material.
Like hardware stores or art stores or where?
No, we have like painting stores for professionals.
Yep.
Not arty, like more in the house paints, things like that. And then we used to go there to buy those brands. And it was, though in that time, those brands were the different system. So instead of having the cap with the pin,
so male or female,
correct. So the cans were having the pin, and then the caps were hollow just to. So it was a completely different system. That I can still miss this system because it had a lot of advantages in terms of pressure and things like that.
Right.
And
because I guess it's going because I guess that valve is going in and they've made it the exact same size. When you've got the male valves, it might be different. So the pressure. Yeah.
And we used to use the size were like 300 or 250.
Which is small.
Is smaller. So it was kind of a different.
More control.
Yeah. So we used to paint also, very detailed things, very little in that time.
Yep.
So we quickly met the commercials guys, from those brands, going to the shops, we quickly connect with them. And then I met Jordi, that it's the guy who started with Montana MTN.
Right.
Yeah, so they started then. So, and we had like a really nice, connection there, and they always being very supportive with us. And they made a lot of different paints to kind of, design specifically for graffiti. So they,
and you were there for that early.
Yeah. So
did they ask for your input and what would make
a lot?
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell us about that. Yeah.
So MTN has this range that it's called hardcore. That then when they started with this, because this was already the system we have now with high pressure and everything, it changed the whole way we start painting. We start painting with fat caps, like more big and things like that. So before of that, we had those little cans, and we start adding a lot of different colors and things like that. So in '94, so I'm explaining this really badly, but
No, that's okay.
it was a very big graph jam in Barcelona, where we got invited to paint an exhibition. The sponsor for that was the main spray paint brand, but that time was the first time Montana, they introduced black and white to test, and they gave us like, under the table, like, oh, try these samples. Yeah. And because they were like working for that company, and then they start their own company because they realized this thing, graph, is huge. So later,
did they have the label on them, or they're just like blank labels?
Yeah. They already had the design and everything. So it was the first batch in '94. So it was a very important graph jam because it came a lot of people from different parts of Europe. Mm-hmm. Really, because in Europe that time, the graph was like was incredible. I didn't even look to what happened in New York and things like that, because the graffiti in Europe at that time was way, maybe I'm going to say something that people don't like, but
they were pushing the envelope.
Yes, they were more advanced, more like progressive. It was like huge. Was really, I didn't look I didn't have the need of looking to things in America. Honestly, I'd never like the American culture a lot. So I was kind of, looking always what's happening in Europe.
And there was a lot going on, so you didn't need to.
Yeah. So it was very alive, the culture there. No, it was massive.
Yeah, how awesome to be part of like the prototypes and the samples of the paint that became a staple for a while.
Yeah, so this is the reason why they have this range called MTN 94, because 94 was the year of this.
1994.
Yes, correct.
And you were there.
Yeah. So
yeah, did you keep any of those cans?
I have. Yeah, I should bring it. Yeah, I have one of the little ones at home.
You have to send us a photo.
Yeah, I'll send you a photo. It's really cool.
Awesome.
It's
Man,
really
what a
cool.
piece of history.
Yeah, I was like, holding this because a friend of mine gave it to me like not long ago, because I was like, you have one of those, you have to give it to me, because it's part of like, I was like shaking. I was like, what? No, it was my life. Yeah. So because also in that time, late in the 90s, Montana was like supporting us and sponsor.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, they were giving us like the paint for free. They bought some artwork from me. I mean, I was like, in heaven, like, pretty.
And so you were full-time painting, or did you have to work as well?
So that time, street art didn't exist. Mm-hmm. So it was like, or at least, was, graffiti was like very niche. I was kind of I never considered myself like a proper writer, because I was like more into characters. Uh-huh. I was like doing my own thing, I guess. All my friends were like writers.
You were the character guy.
But I was the character guy, yeah. So I was always, and I was, already painting at home, just like really into comics. I started having a lot of influence for different things. So I was very like free in terms of adding different like influences from everywhere, just trying to find myself, really.
Yeah. And so I know that there's a kind of a crossover, because Montana and then MTN, and they're different things now, but it was one company. What happened there?
No, so I mean, the information that I have. So there is only. So I know that Montana is a German company. So, but the reality is Montana started in Barcelona. So they were distributing paint whole Europe and
over here as well, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like back in the days.
Yep.
And they had this kind of agreement with a very big distributor in Germany. I have no idea, but I'm just all this gossip that we know because it's very
You
well
were there,
documented.
you know.
Yeah, so the factory from Montana got burned. It got burned actually twice,
Wow.
and one of
it
those
would have been exploded. There's a lot of chemicals.
yeah, so they had like really kind of bad luck. So apparently they had like this agreement where they had to supply a lot of paint, and it was kind of they were pretty young and not maybe super business wise at that time, especially internationally. So in that time, I guess these people in Germany they thought this brand is gonna disappear. So because we are the distributors here, we're gonna keep going with this brand or something like that. So they took advantage, and until nowadays that the Montanas are the German ones. That for me is like kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's like
because people say that German Montana, but then when the Spanish Montana comes back, it has to be MTN because they can't have the Montana name.
Correct. So this kind of was like the story that I know, and yeah, so kind of they had to change a little of the branding, but yeah, we the first samples that I had were in Montana and always being Montana.
So do you ever use the German Montana?
A couple of times here because I didn't have they. I don't know. I got involved in those graffiti jams or paintings, or things like that. And it was what it was, and I was like, complaining a lot. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not painting with this shit.
I'm Team MTN. Yeah.
Sorry, but I'm not painting with this shit.
Right.
But anyway, I guess it's none of my business. For me, like, because I lived very intensely, vividly the Montana period. It's like, I can't paint with the Montana.
Yeah, it means a lot to you.
Yeah.
And they looked after you for so long when,
Yeah. But not only me, they took care of a lot of people. And they being awesome to the graffiti culture there. So many people, they've been working in the factory, they've been helping a lot of, generally, like, I don't think nowadays. I don't know because I know that the company, it's more international. The founder of the company is not there anymore, so I think it's something different now. But back in the days, they were genuinely interested. I remember going there and mixing colors with them.
Oh wow!
To do the colors we wanted. So they were like
custom colors.
Yeah, and one of the colors is still on the. So there is a color called Vampire Violet that it was a color that I designed with my friend Rostro.
Amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. So it's still on the catalog. Yeah.
Do you still
I'm
use
always
it?
like, showing off. This is my color.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see that when people care about the culture so much. Like they're not worried about the money so much. They're worried about pushing what you can do with paint,
Yeah. It was a different world by then, and definitely, it was a different relationship with making money. And it was genuine connections. We were like not thinking to make money. It was like very innocent in some ways.
Yeah.
So yeah.
A little bit naive, but that was cool,
Yeah. It was super cool. I missed that period so much because people were. So this is one of the things that I like being around graffiti guys in general. It's just like they so genuine. Because no one is painting graffiti as a business. It's actually really horrible when you try to make a living painting with spray paint because it's just like you feel like you are not doing the thing.
Selling out, you feel like.
Yeah, it's just terrible. So people who are involved in that, it's always like very authentic. and yeah, it's just so pure.
Yeah, it is because like people that do graph, they're risking their safety, they're spending their money, or they're just to do it because they're that passionate about it. There's not too many other pastimes that people do that sort of have that kind of the negative that goes with it. So that's why they're so passionate and pure.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting because all my friends, we didn't have any kind of purpose in life. We were like, we are gonna end in that factory working. That it didn't happen because they all got broke and disaster, financial. But you see like this is gonna be my life. So we were like escaping from, and I think like all the graffiti was like kind of the path to open to a different creative, endeavor. So a lot of friends from back in the days, they still doing creative stuff. They all like become professionals, or even if they working, other non-creative jobs, because they found that path of being able to express themselves. They have like
it planted the seed to do something different to work in a factory.
Maybe I'm working doing that, but I'm still painting, or I'm still doing graffiti. So it's great.
It's awesome.
It's great.
So then moving along in the timeline, mid-90s, moving up to close to the 2000s, graffiti has a big explosion sort of internationally. I'm guessing in Spain it's no different.
Yeah, so we were, what I remember, and in my experience, late 90s was very strong for me. So I was like, and then we start like, it was like starting the distribution of full color print magazines, like explicit graphics and things, from all over. And we have like this one in Barcelona called Game Over. So the culture started like blossoming a lot. So yeah, late 90s and early 2000s were like massive.
And a lot of new writers and new artists are coming up.
Yeah, in that period though, we had like ups and downs. I remember being a lot of friends, and then drop like to being like a handful of friends just doing that, and then going up again. So it was like waves. Of things like that.
Which most subcultures sort of have that, where it's popular for a bit and then it isn't because something else becomes along, and then but you've got the same people that really love it. They're doing it the whole time.
Yeah. So I guess then I kind of felt like I was, a bit stuck because graffiti was so niche and I was trying to do other stuff, and I felt like it was kind of a stigma, like.
Hurting your if you were an artist.
As an artist. So it was a moment where I was trying to start like trying to hustle, and because I was like because I paint so much on the streets, I learned, and drawing at home basically, I was developing a lot of skills that they were like good to doing whatever sort of job, like. So I was like trying to hustle just do whatever. So but it was always the stigma of, see, you look very graffiti, you look very street, and
that was a negative, you think?
It was like kind of hard to get into commercial stuff. I was a very good illustrator, and then so I started doing commercial illustration for branding agencies and things like that. So I start working digitally with like
Wacom?
With the Wacom and things like that. And I was trying to sell my illustrations everywhere, and I was doing all sort of creative, like just collaborating, doing like stage decorations, backgrounds, whatever was creative and I was able to use my painting skills to make a
set
living.
design and that sort of thing.
Set design, things like that. But trying to so then I discovered graphic design, kind of because the digital aspect, doing Illustrator. So I met a friend who was a really good graffiti very well-known graffiti guy in Barcelona called Inopie, and we exchanged like classes. Like I was teaching him to draw, and he was teaching me Photoshop and freehand. So we were like exchanging that
Exchanging
skills every Sunday. So it was a really nice period. So
like
this
your own little school.
Yeah, this was like 98 or something like this.
Yeah. Photoshop's pretty sort of, it's an early Photoshop there.
Yeah, I think it was the version 3 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 3, yeah.
Yeah. So imagine. Yeah.
So then that's kind of a time where the internet's blowing up a bit. So there is a lot more digital sort of stuff there.
Yeah. So I remember then because I was really good with, drawing and things, I started animating with Flash. I don't know, it's late 90s and early 2000s, and I got a job in my only job.
Only job you've ever had?
I ever had
Wow.
for someone else. It was a digital studio where they were doing like banners and websites, and so I was doing like a lot of Flash and design. So I became like a graphic designer.
Yep. Like early web design sort of thing.
Web design, yeah. So and
did you enjoy it?
Yeah. So I realized that design was something that I really, really love until today. So yeah.
And then they got, not to go off your journey, but they got rid of Flash, didn't they? They just kind of, it doesn't, there's a whole industry of people that's what they did, and they just said, no, we're not really using it.
Steve Jobs said, no more.
With Apple, like, we're not supporting it.
Yeah, correct. So, and it was gone. It was very interesting, that period, because it was a lot of mix of technology, music, design, but it was very, it wasn't commercial. It was a lot of designers doing cool stuff. It was kind of similar, a period where like graffiti was kind of underground. So it was a lot of people doing websites, doing like very crazy stuff.
It was just new and exciting.
Yeah. And you were able to do a lot of interactive stuff, giving a lot of capabilities on a browser, basically. So it was, really interesting period, with the multimedia aspect, I guess.
And it sucks because a whole lot of people, that would have been their industry, and then when it just gets taken away, they have to reskill and figure out something else.
Yeah, it was hard because different type of coding. I wasn't into coding anyway, but
you were doing the visual aspects.
Yeah, I was all the animations. Coding, I was, very basic instructions, but and then we end up doing the HTML5 and things like that. It was like kind of a headache. Still doing CSS, it's kind of a headache.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is definitely very skilled people out there.
So
Not
then,
me.
Personally, while that's happening, are you doing your own sort of body of work? Are you exhibitioning, or you're just doing the street stuff?
Yeah, so I was doing. I was around 2002. I was kind of, very exhausted because I was feeling like I was going nowhere. I was feeling like graffiti was pretty limiting. I found that the freedom I used to feel, mid 90s, late 90s, it was like start getting very traditional. Graffiti was like more New York. So I felt like, I was wanting to experiment and do other...
Push the boundaries.
Yeah, do more stuff. I was already doing installation, doing other... I had a lot of different interests, more artistic. And then I was in need of having a solid income because at that time, was pretty, I was like already, okay, I'm not a teenager anymore. I need to make a living, because if not, this is gonna be, and the graffiti is not helping. I can't, I was like, so I had friends doing the graffiti road, like making a living with the graffiti, but it was like,
It's a grind.
yeah, it was not. So I kind of felt like it was my, stuck. I was pretty stuck. So
Time to move on.
yeah, so I was like then, in contact with advertising agency, design studios. I had this job that it helped me a lot to get into, this different world. I really got in love with graphic design. And then I started with my first studio. So I was like, providing web services to design with other advertising agencies and things like that.
Freelance sort of thing.
Freelance.
Yep.
I did a lot of illustration, but illustration was to make a living with illustration by then was kind of, very, a lot of, I feel like I was trying, they are always asking me for different styles and different, because, it's not like nowadays they have like, people value one style and there is many artists. By then were like, people in the advertising, they had to do like, many different skill sets and things.
Had to be versatile.
Very versatile. And I was good with it, but it was like a lot of, I was very tired. Working nights, was, so doing graphic design was kind of a break from that. And graphic design was helping me to evolve up and understand a part of the creative side that I wasn't, naturally good at it, because I was very like, intuitive, like, all feelings, expression, freestyling. I'm still doing like this. So the graphic design helped me to be more mindful, like, understand concepts. And it's always been really interesting to me, having these both different separate things, like being wild and then being working for to solve a problem. I just kind of love it.
It showed you the other side of it.
Yeah, it's like, I'm two persons. The graphic.
But that helps you as an artist, because then you understand what they're asking for as from the client's perspective.
Yeah. So I was, as an artist, I was, the goal was expressing myself. Basically, it was about me. Everything, it was about me. And, that it was kind of exhausting. So then going to work for clients was, the boundaries were very clear. The purpose of the job was very clear. And there is strategy that I love strategy. It's kind of.
And that was you felt comfortable there because you could still do the art thing without moving into something that's a totally different industry.
Yeah. So these kind of liberate the pressure of when I do my art, and the way I start, doing graffiti, that I was doing it for me. So it kind of, I had the freedom to keep, doing my thing without having to please anybody, because, I do the paint because it's something that I need to do it. So I don't have to do it for someone else. So for someone else and to make a living, I do something that I really love, that it's not a problem for me. I really love branding and design, and, I do creative direction, art direction. So it's kind of, things that are compatible with my personality, and I can, and sometimes help me to evolve both.
For sure. And so then you are still painting a little bit, but not as much. It's not your focal point?
Correct. So then something happened that I met. So in that period, all my graffiti guys, I felt like my friends, I was starting feeling like a different person. Like, oh, I'm not this graffiti kid anymore.
You matured.
I feel like I'm at a different stage in my life. So just I don't I don't hang up with those friends anymore. I'm just more. I have other friends more in the design industry, in the arts, and then I made all of those new wave of people that they come from the graffiti, but they start doing street art or more or kind of painting in the streets with a very open mind.
Yeah, the paste ups start happening, all that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
and we used to paint with rollers, with very big poles, and doing that thing, and we so then I had another kind of run with a handful of friends that we had this crew called Mixed Media, and it was like really nice because we were more connected because was a different approach to the street. Was not without the limits of just
Letters and
so it was kind of you can do whatever you want. Paint, we started painting on the abandoned warehouses, factories, because it was like the financial crisis. But by then, it just like 2007,
8, 9,
so and we stopped, painting in a lot of abandoned places with all the, rollers, recycling, painting, not even using spray paint anymore, things like that. So doing very large, like very big, but without infrastructure. It was like, the poles, 6-meter poles with the rollers and,
whatever you could get your hands on.
Yes. And using whatever we found inside the factories, because it was interesting to find like, scraps
Mops or something,
whatever. So we started doing that thing. So it was very, very, it was very interesting for me.
And it's a different time, I guess, to document things then as well, because the internet's a lot more, established, so people can take photos, you can upload them.
Yeah.
It's pre-social media, or I guess Facebook's around, but you can put it on your blogs or websites, and that's it.
So that was the, when it started, because I didn't have any hope of because I was already established with my design work. I felt like I had a career. I was, making money. I was like super happy with it. Very proud of myself, because it took me forever to get in because I didn't have like a degree school. Like I tried to study and have like, but I couldn't finish anything. So I was very, always all over the place. So, I felt pretty solid doing my job. So with the graffiti was more like, with the street art was more like, being myself.
Self-expression.
And from there, start exploring because Flickr, because...
Flickr,
So there are many, it was many because it was like changing every 2 years.
Bebo, was it Bebo, Flickr? There was a few.
See, there was a different one. So and I kind of left because my job was like exploding. So I had to have. I was getting very successful with design work, and then my friends, they got huge, like on Instagram and things like that.
Yep.
That it was like very interesting to see. I was like very jealous. I was like, oh my God.
But proud as well.
Of course.
But I could have been there.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was like having a lot of success with my design work. So I had in 2014, I started my branding agency. So and that I still, running the. So the company is in Barcelona, so we're a team there. So I was like super happy, and But I kind of like, I still like, I wish, what would happen if I didn't. Was working on the design.
It's hard. It's hard though, because you can't look. You could. If you're going to put all your attention into the art, then you're not going to be able to put all that attention into your branding business, So
No. I mean, I can't complain. It was like, but it's like you want to do everything, and sometimes So
And is that when you start thinking about a family as well? So then you've got other people to
Yeah.
worry about, not just yourself.
yeah, so crazy story. So my partner, she's from here. So I met her in my town because she came to do an artistic project there. So we met the day she was coming back. So, well, it was kind of a disaster because, international,
Long distance.
long distance. But, in 2007, after we, we did all the visas stuff during, she was living there, I was coming here. And then we married here in 2007. So she came with me to live in Barcelona for a while. So then we start, trying to have kids. So that period was like, I was like in a different stage of my life. Yeah.
Way more mature.
Yeah, I was like, over 30s, and I was like, I have to be responsible. No, because it's you need different things in the different
Priorities.
Yeah, I never stopped painting. I always have those periods of not doing much, and then catch up with the friends and do a piece with my graffiti friends, and then things like that. But not taking it seriously, late 90s.
You can't get caught doing the wrong
No.
thing. Were people at that stage, were people still painting trains and that sort of thing in Spain?
So they still do. But my friends, they were like doing a lot of trains, late 90s. Yeah, during the 90s was pretty full on.
Was it because I know parts of Europe where they're like, you basically don't get in trouble. Was it a big deal there if you got caught doing a train?
So in the beginning was like, I guess, not very, like, it was kind of chill, but then all the tourists, graffiti tourists from
All over the world.
from Europe coming to Barcelona, destroying the cities. It was massive. So then the laws changed so
Crackdown.
badly that, because I remember painting in any wall and police stopping by and having a chat with them, convince them, no, but we are doing something. And it was like different. And from that period where we got Barcelona got very popular and a lot of people traveling there, is when got very complicated. So
And they started locking the trains up and that sort of thing?
yeah. But still a lot of people painting trains, and they got, it's just like they know they spend a lot of time tracking how.
It's militant, some of those people, man, the way they do
I had
it.
friends, like, they sit on a place for days taking notes, ready to, when it's the time exactly when I'm going to have 20 minutes to make, to paint a piece on that train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very planned and very,
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll always find a way to outsmart them, won't they?
Yeah. So, they were like a lot of different, and also the styles. I remember they were a few crews. They evolved the styles a lot, because of the way they were painting, and it was very interesting to see.
Yeah, because that whole sort of what now is called anti-style, but it used to sort of be Euro style, I guess came from people painting quickly because you didn't have a lot of time. And that evolved to a whole thing.
Yeah, they didn't, again, I'm going to get in trouble for that, but they didn't, the good ones, they didn't look much to what happened in New York. They were influenced more for what there were many that they even not into the hip hop stuff. I mean, they were, and they were like very, very, finding a style that it's effective, very effective to paint, but it's, visually very strong and bold.
Abrupt, sort of,
Yeah, and it was a lot of innovation there. And it was a completely different, mindset.
Yeah.
And I really respect that.
Yeah. So then on your personal journey, you get married, you start thinking about a family.
Yeah.
It gets to 2010 or whatever, but you're still doing your street art stuff, but still focusing on your branding business.
Yeah, so I was like full-time, designer, working for all sort of brands and doing a lot of branding, brand strategy, things like that. And yeah, trying to have kids. That it took us a while.
It's hard for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, so for us, we were like, oh, now we're gonna have kids, and then it's like, oh, the kids are not coming. And we start feeling the pressure because our plan was like to come here real quick. We never because we married here thinking, oh, okay, we're going to Barcelona for 2-3 years, and then we come back when maybe we have already the first kid or something. And it took us a while. And then we start like getting worried, and I was like, "Oh, we should go to the doctor because this is not, we are in late 30s or mid 30s, and then we start like, going to the doctor, think, oh, what's going on? Nothing wrong with us, but it's probably that you are not like in your 20s.
Yeah.
That it's probably easier,
especially if it's both of you as well. Yeah.
Correct. So. We probably the stress of not thinking about it, and then we start doing like those treatments,
like IVF sort of thing.
This is when it's getting very interesting. This podcast we are talking about, like
but a lot of people don't talk about it though.
I think it's very important to talk about it because it's it's nothing wrong. I mean, so we did a lot of treatments. None of them worked. Was awful because it's very stressful. You put a lot of hope in something. You put a lot of money on it.
And then it's depleting when it doesn't work for you.
Oh, it's rough. It's very rough, And then we thought, okay, so maybe we have to go to the road to adopt. Because why not? Because this is not, we're going to stop, worry about it. And we start getting into like, looking for information about how to adopt and the international adoption.
I've heard it's a hard process.
Yes, so it's a really hard process. And then when we did, it's like, okay, let's do it. So we went to, so you have to get like, you have to do like some sort of courses by then. At least there is like organizations where you go to have to go through as say.
Is this in Spain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with a psychologist. So they kind of approve that you are
stable enough to adopt.
So they look into your everything, your life, your finances, and then they give you. You are okay to go through the process. You are approved, and then we start all the process with. You have to choose an organization that is working with a country, and you have to work with lawyers and things like that because it's not that you want something. It's like you offer yourself. If you are ready to be parents, and you offer as a to have a family, if it's so these organizations put you in contact with children that maybe they had like they had different sort of issues and so at the minute we started this process, it took like a year and a half, like doing all this process legally, and we did the first payment to the lawyers to go to Bulgaria to start the process. It was like a 3-year roadmap or something like this. And then a month after, my wife got pregnant.
Amazing.
Like, so we had to, because when you get pregnant, you have to stop the process. You can't, legally you can't.
Yeah, and you can't focus on that other kid because you've got your own. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So it was like all the energy and all the dream about this process and everything. It was like, oh, wow. So it was kind of, now now, okay, let's not, because anything can happen. Let's put this on pause because we have to, wait for this period of 4 months to see that everything is safe. And
Which is always stressful too.
yeah, so we lie back and we thought, priorities are priorities, and yeah, so, and 3 years after she got pregnant again. So I have, but it was like, really, really interesting times.
The second time around, you must have been way more confident. We know we can do it though.
Yeah, I guess we were like trying and trying. It took us like 3 years still. It was like we were like at the end of the hope of, having another one. We were like so grateful because, after all these treatments and things like that, we thought maybe this is not going to happen. So, we are so grateful to have one kid. And then, we had the second one. So I have 2 girls that, full hands.
And it worked out how it probably was supposed to work out.
Yeah. So this was 2011, the first one, 2015, the second one. So 2014 was when I started the business that I'm still running right now. And so very busy. All these years, business, kids, moving countries.
Moving countries is big.
Oh man, I was like, we thought that moving. I think I'm still not completely settled.
Really?
It's like, wow, moving countries is big, especially when you are moving my age. Like I'm 47 now. So it's with all your family and business and things. I'm still running my business from here.
The time difference. How's that go?
Well, working at nights. I have a great team, so we manage to do it in a way that I can do my bit and
still do family.
So
So when you moved over here, what was it, almost 10 years ago?
Yeah, so 2016, I think it was June 2016.
So 9 years coming up,
Yeah.
And so, because your partner was originally from here, your daughters are born there, but you wanted to bring them up in Australia?
Yeah. We were feeling like a little bit the pressure of the eldest starting, school here.
Yeah.
Because in Spain we start earlier, so she was already at school with 3, so she did 3 and a little bit of 4 over there. So we start, we are very crazy. We were feeling the pressure. You have all these responsibilities and think, I'm gonna traumatize my kids. That you will do anyway. Don't worry. You wanna traumatize your kids. You don't have to. So we thought, no, it has to be the right moment. So even the business was like pumping up, like, it was time to come and
But you'd obviously been here before, but when you moved here, was it a bit of a culture shock? You're like, okay, I don't have my community here. I don't know the artists. You kind of have to start and build your community again.
Yeah. So when I came here, I was like full of those ideas that you are, thinking, because I came to Australia a couple of times before. I had, have some Aussie friends but you don't really understand, especially because I came straight to the peninsula.
Yeah.
It was
it's
like
not the arts hub that that you've been at.
No. I felt kind of a little bit out of place.
Culturally, it's a shock.
Yeah, because I was like, when I came, I was like the exotic one in Mornington.
Well, that's like, but there is a lot of community and people to paint with, but maybe not so much where you were. You probably would have been. In the city would have fit you a little bit more?
Look, when especially when I met Bela, also when I did the Frankston Street Art Festival as well, so I started meeting people from the city, And then I thought, oh man, this is okay. Now we're good. Now
Yeah.
we're good because
You got to find your people.
yeah. So because I love Melbourne City, it's a very culturally so rich, like, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I'm not there. So
Well, yeah, we're about an hour away, which isn't,
Yeah.
and we can get to the city and explore, and hopefully with things like you said, the Frankston street art, all that sort of stuff. Hopefully we get a little bit more culture coming down this way, but it is hard.
yeah, and it has changed in it, something that for me it's kind of wild is how quick Melbourne change, like because of all these surroundings where we live has changed so much. So a lot of people, every people that I meet is like, so how long have you been living here? Oh no, 3 years. Oh no, 2 years. Oh no, I came last year. And I'm like, I'm already a local, man. I'm just been here for 9 years. What are you talking about? I'm the local now.
And you've seen it change in that period.
Oh yeah, so it's very different. It's very different. And again, I'm settling slowly. I'm also meeting a lot of artists, nothing to do with street art, but that for me are also my peers. Mm-hmm. And yeah, completely different experience. Yeah.
Well, even at the end of last year, we had a bit of a barbecue here, and you met some artists from down this way as well.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff's good, man.
Yeah, no. When I realized that you were here in Romana, I was like, my God, this is so good. No, all good. All good.
You're meeting the people.
Yeah. No.
So when you got here, you're obviously working still with your business, but you started to do your own stuff. So you've done some solo stuff here. Did your style change? Did you? How did moving countries affect your art?
Yeah. So when one of the good things about moving was like, okay, now that we are moving, I'm kind of stepping a little bit away of the business life, and I had like this very strong like feeling of I need to get painting back to my life regularly, because I've never stopped painting, but I was like, I really need to put time on it because I been killing myself with the business side.
And your family's young as well, which takes time.
Yeah. So I was pretty lucky that the business did well. So I was kind of on a different stage. So I was like, okay, very quick, very really early when I come here, I start painting like consistently, and I was literally doing exactly where I left. I was like, okay, the first thing I have to do is not trying to do the arty. No, I'm gonna start painting all the things that I have inside that I felt that I stop, and I have to get rid of it. And I start like painting like a crazy person, and I start painting big canvas, and I did my first solo in 2019. And it wasn't very successful in terms of kind of sales and things like that, but it was like kind of a good milestone to start meeting the art community, and
it was the first step of that next stage.
Yeah. So I could since then I didn't stop. So I was like doing a lot of studio work. I also did some murals, some not graffiti, because I'm kind of painting with spray paint with the graffiti guys that I kind of like more than doing murals. And a lot of studio works, and I'm also experimenting a little bit with animation and doing this kind of experimental pieces that they are painted by hand but animated, and doing all the soundtracks as well, and
You're doing the music too.
Yeah, I'm start doing it now because it's something that I always wanted to do as well.
You're composing it, or how are you making the music?
So I'm using tools like BandLab or GarageBand and things like that. But I, write the beats, using digital samples or things, and because I was involved with a lot of hip hop artists and producers, really good friends, and I spent a lot of time looking at them, how they, using
watching and taking it in.
Yeah. So I was like, always something that I always wanted to do. So and I feel like I'm doing what I always wanted. Like I feel like I'm a painter, but I'm really into technology and using those. It's like I really want to do painting in movement, like kind of those experiments.
Bringing those two disciplines together.
Yeah, so I'm doing a lot of kind of stop motion things mixed with digital animation and incorporating sound. So it's kind of my thing now.
It's like a full experience.
Yeah. So actually, when I was late in the 90s, I did my first multimedia project. So I was painting live, projecting stuff together, doing some with also with sound. So I always wanted to do these kind of projects where I incorporate the physical artwork, with the digital aspect and things like that.
Yeah. So I saw recently that you've done the different sections of the face on the blocks, and then you move that around with like a stop motion thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this is a project called Cuboids.
I wasn't sure how to pronounce it because it does have a
Yeah. So Cuboids started. So during the period of lockdowns and things like that, I started painting in scraps of cardboard, because I always loved the idea of using recycled materials, even that I'm very picky with. I'm not going to paint with German Montana. I like to, so I was like using pieces of cardboard, pieces of packaging. And then I started painting on the whole box. And because I was like really wanting to I was starting already doing animation. And I did a lot of animation in the past with Flash and things like that. I was like, if I combine those pieces, I can build like the expressions that I want. So it came out like kind of as an experiment. So then I paint like a lot of different pieces, like different eyes, different noses, different, parts of the face, even other weird stuff. And then I create from the same artwork like different lockups, and with those lockups, then I did the whole animation. So it was kind of it started like a very, intuitive process. Like I don't know what I'm doing, like most of the time, and then I put like the professional lighting, doing professional photos, putting, learning all the software to do it properly, because it has to have the right lighting and things like that.
The shadows and
Yeah.
Because there is basically infinite amount of different ways those faces can sit together.
Yeah. So, and then, it's a moment on this animation that it divide into faces and then come back. So it's kind of a body of work by itself, that it's kind of the beginning of more pieces that I'm working on, and a lot of ideas that I'm working. So then I did another project called Mosca, that it was also a very dreamy, very surrealist piece, that it's also a painting in movement, that there it's a stop motion, and then it has also digital animation, square by square, and also it's more heavy into sound as well. So I'm kind of where I'm at the moment.
And you did a little zine or a little booklet as well.
Yeah. So
that's going back to the old. Yeah.
Because I have a lot of free time. so in the past, during the 90s, I did some fanzines in photocopy. So when I discovered this risograph printing, that is a Japanese system, that it's kind of some sort between a photocopier and a silk screen. Silk
screen, yep.
Silk screen. So it's a very weird system that it really works, and it gives you a very beautiful finish
Texture.
and you can.
What's it called again?
Risograph.
Risograph. Okay.
Is so it's really good because apparently they were designed to do runs in a cheap way. So it's not very perfect, the printing, but it's not toner. It's not photocopy. It gives it like a very beautiful colors, and they don't have many colors, so it's kind of limiting.
But that's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool. So I saw some other artists like doing putting together their sketches on a kind of a publication, and I thought, I want to do that. So because when I do my art stuff, I'm not very organized. I don't want to be organized. I don't want to make plans. I want to improvise. I want to feel. So I have a lot of sketches, and I thought it's a really good idea to put it together on a fanzine. And then I published this thing that I also include a drawing by hand. So I put a vegetable at a transparent paper that I draw by hand. So it's like a limited edition of 50 copies, and I customize with a hand-drawn thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's completely financially suicide. Like it's just, what am I doing?
But it's you're expressing yourself. It's what you want to do.
It's exactly what I want to do. Just things that doesn't make any sense financially. This is the freedom of having a passion in design, and I don't have to please anybody doing my art, and I'm all about that.
Yeah, and art doesn't have to make sense. It's just what you want to do.
I have those weird interests that doesn't make any sense. Sometimes I go very excited to my family and say, "Look, this is what I did," and they look at me and they say, "No, Marco, no, this, no," and they laugh at me. And when they laugh, it is like I think I'm in the right direction because they think something is not right. Then it's good.
Dad's doing it again. What are you doing?
Yeah. They're pretty embarrassed.
They don't think it's cool to have an artist as a dad?
Well, they all artists at home.
There you go.
Yeah, so I guess in some sort of way I'm influencing them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So also, now that you're down here and you're painting a lot, do you want people to reach out and hit you up to go paint some places, to do collaborative work, that sort of thing?
Yes. So I mean, if someone has a wall,
I've got one, but it gets painted over a lot.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So because I don't have attachment when I paint, I like to do it and then gone. I like the idea of being able to do my stuff. I don't get commissions, like I want this, or I have to do a project, to cater. Sorry, I'm not that guy. There is plenty great muralists around. But if someone likes what I'm doing and wants something different, I'm always, looking for walls, locally.
And in the city even, yeah.
In the city. I did some in the city already, thanks to amazing friends like Bela, that it's been awesome with me, really good friend.
He's a good dude, yeah.
I love him, and because he is, sorry, I'm telling this, but Bela, don't feel embarrassed. It's like when I'm with him, it's like being with my friends, so it's kind of, the same sense of humor, the same sort of craziness, and we kind of understand each other when we are painting. just
And he messaged me, and that's how you got onto my radar. He goes, man, my mate's down your way. You should catch up with him, and that's how we connected. So that's due to him as well.
Yeah, legend.
So also, if people have walls and they're doing a graffiti type thing, and they want something a bit different with like characters or whatever, you could jump in there and do some characters.
Graffiti guys, please don't be scared. I know that I'm like very responsible person, but I'm enjoy painting with with my people.
Yeah, and businesses, if they're out there and they want your style, they've just got a wall and they're sick of it being bombed or whatever, and they just want to trust you, then you're up for doing that too.
If someone wants to avoid the trend of muralisms, of nice like looking plants with
let's say it, birds,
and I'm the right person.
You're the right guy.
And
also with your style, it's for some people, and a lot of people don't like graffiti that have walls, businesses. So you can do it in a way that isn't, for lack of a better term, graph.
Yeah. I mean, I rather, so I feel like when someone doesn't like graffiti, it's not my people. So please don't call me. If you don't like graffiti, don't call me.
Don't call you.
Because if you're going to come and say, oh, I don't understand the tags, and I'm gonna get angry and I'm gonna leave. But if you understand that, you like artistic stuff, that I'm not doing graffiti, but if you are looking for something different, look my stuff and I might be. And then I have a lot of paintings, really nice, studio work that it's available. Yeah.
On your website.
So I have a website. Yeah, the website has a lot of, in project you can see a lot of things, but in Instagram you can see what it's in there. And I have currently in the studio that I'm working in Mornington, I have an exhibition there. So I have a lot of big paintings and small ones as well.
And so this is going to go to air Thursday next week. Will the exhibition still be going then?
Yeah, I think so. And if not, because I have the studio there with I always have my studio full of material. They can have a look, and there is a lot of cool stuff. I have a lot of also prints.
And people that are moving down here that might have a new house that they need some artwork for, it's a good place to start.
If they want really cool stuff, different, they can have a look. And if they want something wild with a lot of lines and stuff like this, they can visit me.
For sure. As we get close to wrapping things up, man, is there anything else we've missed or anything you want to tell us about what's coming up for you in 2025?
So I'm having an exhibition at the end of the year in Prague again, because I had a really good show with Bela
gallery?
in Let's Pretend. It's not open anymore. So I had this exhibition that it went really well. So I'm coming back to Prague. I had a really, I had a massive experience there. So I met a lot of people, and so I'm gonna be hanging pieces in this different place. I will publish the information and things like that, but I will go into Prague again by the end of the year.
Awesome. And that just check out your stuff on Instagram, on your website. Keep an eye out for can you say what the show's going to be called at the end of the year? We've got to keep that under.
No, I'm still working on it. So I don't have still. I'm just doing the new body of work. So. Yeah, no name, no half.
Marco, did I say it correct?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
3,000.